The Duchess of Cornwall, 74, last week called for more action to tackle male violence against women. During a somber speech in London, Prince Charles's wife called for men to play their part in dismantling the culture of sexual violence and get on board with the movement. Her comments came in the wake of the brutal killings of several women, including the recent deaths of Sarah Everard and Sabina Nessa, who were both murdered in London. The Duchess stressed the unimaginable torment victims of sexual violence have to deal with. She also highlighted how victims' families continue to suffer in the wake of their deaths. Camilla was speaking at the launch of a project called Shameless, which tries to alter attitudes towards sexual violence. The scheme is a joint initiative between the Women of the World WOW Foundation and Birkbeck, University of London. Camilla opened her speech by saying, "When asked if we could imagine a world in which violence against women didn't exist, the reaction was mixed. Some hands flew up, some remained firmly planted on most of us glanced at each other rather taken aback. Dared we even dream of a world without rape and sexual abuse, or were we too indoctrinated into believing that violence against women is normal? On average, one woman is killed by a man every 3 days." The Duchess's speech drew praise from commentators, who said it carried important messages. The Daily Mirror's royal editor Russell Myers was among those to hail Camilla's intervention in the discussion about male sexual violence against women. The journalist spoke on royal podcast, God Save the Queen, which is presented by Zoe Fawzi. Speaking about Camilla, he said, "It certainly will be very interesting to see how this concept is carried on. I think she will gather an awful lot of interest about this new quest that shushes on, which is absolutely laudable." Ms. Fawzi said it was a huge moment for Camilla, adding that they were hoping that she can really draw a bit more attention to the issue of male violence against women. Mr. Myers said the Duchess should capitalize on her really important speech. He added, "I think it's something that we'll see her talking about even more in the future." Camilla has collaborated with WOW before, speaking about male violence against women in March of last year. In that speech, at the South Bank Centre in London, the Duchess said her work had allowed her to meet lots of survivors. She said, "I have talked to many women who have lived with coercive control and domestic violence and, thankfully, come out at the other end as the victors, not the victims. They are some of the bravest people I have. Their stories are harrowing and have reduced even the toughest of their listeners to tears. That is why it is so vital that these survivors should no longer feel any shame or any blame." To subscribe to God Save the Queen, go to your normal podcast provider.